Hi guys, today we're going to talk about functions. So in our notes, let's just first start out with a few things. We talked about functions and you're breaking up our program into sections. So that way we can use multiple functions and we don't have to copy and paste the same instructions or the same code. So in this example, we're going to be just using two functions to start us off. We're going to start with our main, and then we're going to create a new function called int add. And basically we're going to add two numbers. And we're adding two numbers that aren't user input. They're going to be right embedded into our code. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So we're going to start with the usual suspects, our include IOStream, our include string, using namespace standard, std. And we're also going to create our int main function with the opening closing paren, and I'm just going to put this as my driving function. And in this function, we are going to call upon our add. So we're going to basically call upon a function called add. And in this function, we're going to be adding two numbers. So let's go ahead and pick two numbers. I'm going to be calling 6 and 8. Or no, 6 and 10. So this is calling upon function add. You'll notice though, I'm putting two numbers into my function called add. I'm putting 6 and 10. So basically I'm saying I'm having arguments, or I'm having information that I'm using and returning and calling upon. So let's go ahead and declare our new function called add. So it's going to be an integer, or it's going to return an integer. Add is my function, and now I need to have the arguments that we're inputting. So it's going to input an integer, and we're just going to create a new variable called x and a second integer called y. And this is our new function. And what this is going to do, it's going to return the value of x plus y. So what this does is this goes to the int main, it goes to add, so it goes down to, it pops out of int main and goes to int add function. It takes the value of 6, assigns it to x. It takes the value of 10, assigns it to y, because that's the arguments, first and second. And then it returns the value of whatever x plus y is, and in this case 6 plus 10, which would give us 16. Let's run. Let's see what we get. We're going to get some errors, as I suspected. The thing here is it's saying that in the int main, add was not declared in the scope. So even though we have this function in add, we still have to declare it because it's being called in our main. So remember, our program reads from top down. So it has a hard time knowing what add is, even though we have it kind of jumps out here. It has a hard time knowing what add is before it gets to the function. So we have to declare the scope up here where we declare our variables, our universal variables. So we have an int add, and it's going to have our arguments, int x and int y. Let's run, and this declares scope. Run. All right, so it does the calculations, but you'll notice there's no output. I didn't see out anything. So we can do several things. We can do this. We can either see out, we can calling upon the function add and outputting results. So let's run this again. And now it outputs 6 to 10. We can change this. We can make it 20 and run. There you go. So we can do a direct line of a cout. Or, I'm going to erase this. Or, we can assign a variable to the results. So I'm going to do an int result, RR, equals add. So calling upon the function add and assigning the results to the variable R. And now I'm going to cout the result R. And call R. And run that. And there's your results. So that's our first function prototype. It's pretty standard. The compiler knows it is declared and can figure out the arguments. So it can figure out these arguments here. Again, the main function of creating functions is to make it easy to reuse the code. We want to make our code easier to read. And so having kind of breaking up the information can be helpful. Okay. So let's move on here. And let's go ahead and look at another function. Let's talk about creating something else here. So let's go and do an example of a function called fun. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to delete this. And we're going to create our we're going to create our function here, int main.